The Galactic Council chamber was large, bigger than any human court. Thousands of alien leaders sat inside, tall, short, glowing, furry, some with tentacles, some with wings. Their voices used to fill the air like music, arguments, and laughter. But today, silence. One seat was empty, the seat of Earth. Everyone looked at it. No one spoke. No one moved. Just days ago, humans had been there, calm, serious, wearing their sharp black uniforms. Their representative, Commander Alina Reyes, had stood tall in the middle of the council. She had asked for justice. She had asked for answers. And the council had said, no, not just no. They laughed. They called humans too emotional, too young, too dangerous. They voted 623-7, and Earth walked away. No war, no threats, no shouting. Commander Reyes had only looked around the room, smiled once, and said, "We understand. Earth withdraws from the council, effective now." Then she left, quietly. Her footsteps echoed on the floor. The doors closed behind her. That was 3 days ago. Now the council chamber was quiet. Too quiet. Alien leaders sat stiff in their seats as if they were waiting for something. What was it? Regret? Fear? No one knew. But everyone felt it. In one corner, the Shun ambassador, a floating creature with 3 minds, whispered to itself. They should have stopped her. Near the center, Grand Admiral Varnak of the Kroll Empire leaned forward, whispering to his aide. Why didn't they argue? Why didn't they protest? Humans always protest. A small red light blinked. Near the council's main screen. A message? No, just a system check. Still, everyone flinched. Something was wrong. Very wrong. The galaxy had seen war. It had seen revolts, rebellions, even full-scale invasions. But humans had never walked away before. Not like this. Not with such calm. Because when humans are angry, they shout. When they are hurt, they fight. But when they are silent, that's when the galaxy starts to worry. In the days after Earth's exit, nothing happened. No messages, no complaints, no ambassadors, no trade, no threats. Just silence. And that silence was louder than any weapon. Back on Earth, no one knew what humans were planning because no one was allowed in. Ships that tried to land were turned away. Messages sent to Earth received only one reply. Earth is unavailable. Please respect our space. The council tried to act strong. They held new meetings, passed new laws, but something had changed. Everyone could feel it. The room felt colder, more tense. In secret meetings, leaders began to whisper. Did we go too far? Will Earth strike back? What if they don't strike at all? What if they're changing? No one had answers, and that's what scared them. In one dark chamber, high above the council floor, 3 senior advisors met alone. Old beings, wise and experienced, they had seen empires rise and fall. One of them, a creature made of light and sound, said softly, "They didn't leave because they were weak. They left because they were finished with us." Another, shaped like stone and fire, replied, "They left like warriors who don't need a sword anymore." The third, an old gray-eyed alien with a long memory, leaned back and said, "They didn't storm out. That's what bothers me. There was no fire, no rage, only purpose." Below them, the empty chair still sat in the chamber, untouched, unmoved, but its presence was heavy. It reminded them of a truth they had all ignored. Humans never forget, and when they stop talking, they're already doing something. Back on Earth. In a dark underground facility, Commander Reyes stood before a glowing table. Around her were silent officers, scientists, and diplomats. No one spoke. They didn't need to. The table lit up with stars, hundreds of systems, hundreds of names. She pointed to one, then another, then 5 more. Everyone nodded. Reyes said only one sentence. Begin Phase 1. And just like that, Earth moved in silence. but the galaxy would feel the storm. Years before Earth walked away from the Council, they believed in it. Humans had worked hard to join the Galactic Council. They thought it was a place of peace, a place of fairness, a place where every species had a voice. But Earth was wrong. In the early days, humans tried to fit in. They sent scientists, doctors, diplomats. They shared medicines, helped stop wars, even saved an alien moon from breaking apart. Still, many council members saw Earth as new, unrefined, too young to lead, too passionate. But the real pain came. Later, it started with a colony, Nova Terra, a peaceful human world on the edge of council space. 10 million people, families, children, scientists, farmers, just trying to live. Then one day, ships came. They weren't pirates. They were council-sanctioned forces from a rich species called the Varn, the same ones who had once called humans useful but replaceable. The Varn said Nova Terra was on shared territory. They claimed humans had no right to build there. They sent warnings. Then troops. Earth begged the council for help. Commander Alina Reyes and other leaders stood in the council chamber pleading, "We followed all the rules. We built the colony with council approval. You can't let them take it." But the council hesitated. The Varn were rich, powerful. They had influence, control, deals behind closed doors. The vote was held. 12 to 36. Earth lost. Nova Terra was attacked. No human ship arrived in time. The colony was burned. Cities turned to ash. No survivors. 10 million lives gone. And the council sent a message. The matter is closed. Do not escalate. Earth did. Not escalate. Not then. But something changed. The humans stopped smiling in council meetings. They stopped trusting. They started watching, listening, studying. The pain of Nova Terra became a quiet fire. Humans still came to meetings, still voted, still spoke, but the warmth was gone. Then came the trade bans. Earth had developed new technology, fast, clean energy sources, strong materials, safer weapons. Instead of celebration, the council blocked them, called it too disruptive, said, Earth was advancing too quickly. Another vote, another betrayal. Still, Earth didn't strike back. They waited, because humans have long memories and quiet patience. Behind closed doors, inside a secret human facility, years before the exit, Commander Reyes met with Earth's top advisors. She looked at the report on Nova Terra, photos, names, birth records, all erased by fire. She said, "We will not forget. We will not forgive. But we will wait. They think we are weak. That is their mistake." Around the table, no one spoke. They didn't have to. Plans were already starting. Back in the present. After Earth walked out of the council, old recordings from those painful years began to spread across the galaxy, hidden footage, leaked files, proof that the council let Nova Terra fall, that they turned away, that they voted against saving 10 million innocent people. And now, everyone saw the truth. Some species were shocked. Others were angry. A few started asking dangerous questions. If they betrayed Earth, who else did they betray? What if Earth was right to leave? Inside the council, the leaders met in emergency session. Panic showed in their voices. "We should have stopped the Varn. We didn't expect the humans to act like this. What if they come back with ships instead of diplomats?" Grand Admiral Varnak, who once laughed at humans, now looked nervous. He said, "They are too quiet. That's not human nature. They must be planning something." No one disagreed, but it was too late. The vote had been cast. The damage done. Earth had no more reason to stay. No more faith, just memory and purpose. Back on Earth, Commander Reyes stood at a large screen. It showed a map of council space. Flashing dots marked old betrayals, Nova Terra, trade bans, secret sanctions. She tapped one. We helped them. They heard us. Then another. We saved their planet. They called us unstable. Then she looked at her team. They thought Earth was a small voice in a big room. They forgot something important. When we stop talking, we start building. The lights dimmed. New ships were being built. New technology tested. New alliances whispered in the dark. The Council had turned its back on Earth. Now Earth was turning away from the Council, but not in weakness, in preparation. After Earth left the Galactic Council, the galaxy expected fire. They waited for warships, missiles, human anger. But none came. Instead, something else happened. At first, it was just a rumor, a broken signal on the edge of Zaran space. Then another, deep, in old mining systems. Static, beeps, strange clicks. The Council called them malfunctions, but they weren't. Soon, more signals appeared. Short bursts of code, fast pulses of sound, laser pings sent through the dark, all using an old Earth-style encryption, the kind no other species used, the kind Earth hadn't used in years. One message, picked up by a curious trader, read, Phase 1 complete, initiating Phase 2. Another message, caught by a deep space probe, simply said, They watched us burn. We remember. Panic spread like wildfire. Council members demanded answers. Military leaders checked their defenses. Spies were sent to track the signals. But there was a problem. The signals weren't coming from one place. They were everywhere, random, unpredictable, like whispers in the dark. In a cold station far from the core, Lieutenant Kuro of the Yarn species was monitoring long-range scanners. He was bored. Nothing ever happened out here. Then a message came through, short, cold, sharp. It wasn't Council approved, it wasn't friendly. It said, The stars will know. The silence was your answer. We are the response. Then, silence again. He reported, yet the report disappeared. No one replied. In Council headquarters, the High Chair of the Galactic Council stood before the chamber. There is no threat, he said. Earth is emotional, but they are not suicidal. They will calm down. This will pass. But many did not believe him. Too many strange things were happening. Cargo ships found their routes scrambled. Old. Earth satellites, once thought dead, suddenly lit up, broadcasting strange patterns. In one case, a mining outpost found its power grid hacked. The attackers left a short message on every screen. Justice is not given, it is made. In secret, some species began contacting Earth quietly. They sent private messages. We were not part of Nova Terra. We tried to stop the vote. Can we talk? No reply came, only silence, and more signals. One species, the Kalari, sent a small ship to Earth, asking for peace. The ship never landed, but it didn't explode either. Instead, it was stopped by a powerful force field. A human AI responded, Earth is not accepting guests. This is your only warning. Then the AI shut. Off, the Kalari captain flew home shaking. She said one sentence to her leaders. They're awake now, and they're watching everything. Inside Earth's deep command center, Commander Reyes stood before a giant map of the galaxy. Red lights blinked on every corner. Each light marked a listening post, a hidden drone, a forgotten station that now answered only to Earth. Earth's silence wasn't peace, it was preparation. And now, it was beginning. Let them hear our signals, Reyes said. Let them wonder. Let them fear. A young officer asked, Should we declare war? Reyes smiled slightly. Why would we declare war? They already did, years ago. We're just replying. Across the stars. Civilian networks began to fail. Starports received old human codes and didn't know how to respond. Even AI controlled. Ships got confused. The Council tried to block the signals. They failed. No one could stop them, because these weren't normal messages. They weren't sent from ships or bases. They were embedded in forgotten satellites, in old trading beacons, in systems Earth had visited years ago. Back when no one took humans seriously, they had left little gifts, and now those gifts were awake. In a council emergency meeting, ambassadors shouted, "Why are they doing this? Why now? What do they want?" But there were no answers. Only one species, the old wise Terrelians, spoke calmly. Their ambassador, with glowing blue skin and tired eyes, stood up and said, "You ask why, but you already know." They begged for help. You laughed. They waited. Now, they act. And then he sat down. No one had anything to say after that. Back on Earth. In a dark control room, Earth's silent war began. No guns. No fleets. Not yet. Only whispers. Only shadows. Only signals. But already the stars were shaking, because this was just the beginning, and Earth had not even raised its voice. It started with a moon, a small mining colony on Terran 6, deep in Council space. Population: 3,200. One morning, a cargo ship tried to contact the station. No answer. They thought it was a technical glitch. Then a second ship tried. Still no response. A patrol vessel flew closer, scanning the surface. The colony was there. Lights, on power running, but no voices, no life signs. Every system was untouched. Every room clean, every machine in place, but the people were gone. The council called it a mystery, an unexplained disappearance. They sent investigators. 2 days later, the investigation team stopped responding too. Now Terran 6 wasn't just silent. It was off limits. The whispers began. Was it pirates? A plague? Or something else? The name Earth came up again, but there was no proof, no explosions, no bodies, no signs of war, just silence. Then another planet went dark. Volnari Prime, a trade world with 5 million people. Same story. No contact, no damage, just silence. By now, fear had become real. The Council sent fleets. They arrived to find ships in orbit, floating, powerless, not destroyed. Just empty. Almost like someone had walked through space and turned everything off. Back on Earth, Commander Alina Reyes stood in a command room. Behind her, screens showed maps of every sector. Dots flashed, red for targets, green for missions completed. More were turning green. She spoke calmly. They used silence to hide what they did to us. Now we answer the same way. No bullets, no bombs, just disappearance. One of her officers asked, "How far do we go?" Reyes replied, "Until they remember what they forgot, human patience does not mean human weakness." Inside the council chamber, panic grew. Leaders shouted over one another. "We must find the humans. Where are their fleets? Why don't we see anything?" But that was the problem. There was nothing. No ships, no armies, just world after world going dark. Some species begged for peace. Others prepared for war. A few still believed Earth could be reasoned with. But Earth wasn't speaking, only acting. The disappearance of Core Station. Core Station was one of the largest trading hubs in the galaxy, a place where humans once saved thousands during a chemical fire years ago. Now it was silent too. When a rescue ship arrived, they found only a message. On every screen, we remembered who helped us. We also remembered who didn't. That was it. Then the message vanished. Even the station's backup memory erased itself. Across the stars, fear spread like a disease. Worlds shut their ports. Species turned against each other. Old alliances cracked. No one trusted anyone, because no one knew who would disappear next. Even the council leaders began sleeping on warships, moving from system to stay hidden. But Earth was not chasing them. Earth was already ahead. Every world that once voted against them, every system that laughed when Nova Terra burned, they were now on the list. In Earth's deep command, new order was given. Commander Reyes looked at her team and said, "Begin Phase 3. A quiet hum filled the room. Old satellites hidden across Council space woke up. Human sleeper AIs activated in the deep web of alien networks. All of it had been planted years ago when Earth was still peaceful, still trusting. Now, that trust was broken, and the tools were ready. One officer looked at the screen and whispered, "They won't even know what happened to them." Reyes nodded. "They didn't know what happened to us either." One final message. On a forgotten moon, a small council research base received a signal. The scientists there thought it was a weather report, but when they opened it, they found only this. "You ignored our words. You buried our dead. Now you will hear nothing but silence." Then the lights flickered. The base went dark. Another dot on the map turned green. The Galactic Council had ruled for thousands of years. They made the laws, they judged the guilty, they chose who lived and who was ignored. But now, the council chamber was not filled with pride. It was filled with fear. Every day, another world stopped speaking. Every week, another fleet lost contact. Planets that once ignored Earth's voice were now begging to hear even a whisper. But Earth said nothing. One by one, the council broke. The Kalari, proud traitors, sent a message. "We wish to reopen talks. Earth has always been wise." No answer. The Varn, who had attacked Nova Terra, offered ships, resources, and apologies. "We regret our past actions. Please, let us make peace." Still nothing. The Jelt, who never voted at all, sent a desperate signal. "We were neutral! Why are we being targeted?" A cold message came back. Just one sentence. "Silence is not innocence." Inside Earth's command, Commander Alina Reyes stood before a large display. Dots representing Council worlds slowly dimmed. A new officer, young and unsure, asked her, "They're trying to talk now. Should we listen?" Reyes turned. Her voice was steady. "They listened when it was safe. They spoke only when others bled. Now let them feel what we felt. Now they beg? Good. Let them." In the council chamber, the high chair looked older than ever. He faced the remaining members. Only a third of the seats were filled. He raised his voice, but it trembled. "We must reach Earth. We must offer peace." One ambassador asked, "And if they won't speak?" Another said, "Then we kneel." Gasps filled the room. The mighty Galactic Council? Kneel? It was unthinkable. But what else could they do? The silence was winning. They weren't fighting humans anymore. They were fighting ghosts. The message of surrender. The council prepared a formal recording. It was sent across every known channel. "To the people of Earth, we admit our wrongs. We failed you. We failed Nova Terra. We failed justice. We ask, not as rulers, but as survivors. Please, speak to us. Let there be peace." The message was sent and waited on. 1 hour. No reply. 2 hours. Still nothing. Then finally, a signal returned. A black screen. A voice spoke. It was Commander Reyes, calm, sharp, cold. "You want peace now, when your hands are shaking? Where was peace when ours were reaching out? You want to talk now, when your homes are threatened? Where were your voices when ours were burning?" The ambassadors lowered their heads. She continued, "You made your choice. You taught us how this galaxy works. Now we speak your language." Then the screen went dark. A new fear. The council didn't respond. They couldn't. They were frozen, silent, just like the planet's Earth had erased from the stars. Now they knew what silence really meant. No one dared to move against Earth anymore, because no one knew what Earth would do next, and worse, no one could stop it. Among the people across council space, civilians were rising. Some began questioning their leaders. Why did we betray Earth? Why did we stay silent about Nova Terra? Why didn't we stop them when we had the chance? Riots broke out in major cities. Monuments to the council were torn down. On one world, children marched wearing Earth flags. They chanted, "Silence is power." Justice wears no chains. The people weren't afraid of Earth. They were inspired. Because Earth wasn't fighting with fire. It was fighting with memory. On a cold night on Earth, Reyes stood on a balcony, looking up at the stars. A young officer stood beside her. "Ma'am, they finally understand," she nodded. "Too late." He looked nervous. "Should we end it now? Accept their surrender?" Reyes didn't speak right away. She simply pointed at the sky. "That's not our decision. That decision belongs to Novaterra. And Novaterra is gone." Silence followed. Not empty silence. Heavy silence. The kind only Earth understood now. The galaxy had seen every kind of war. Laser storms, planet bombs, black hole traps. But they had never seen what Earth was using now. Because this war had no battles. No fleets, no fire. Yet worlds were falling, leaders were running, and power was shifting. All because of one terrible truth. Earth was winning, and no one could explain how. The search for Earth's Weapon Council spies searched everywhere. They looked for superweapons, hidden fleets, secret bases. They found nothing. No armies, no bombs, no new technology, and that was the scariest. Part because something was working and they couldn't stop it. Then finally someone found a clue. A stolen Earth document. Short. Simple. It said, "Operation Echo. Memory is the strongest weapon." The Council didn't understand. Memory? What did that mean? In a hidden Earth archive, underneath old mountains on Earth, in a quiet bunker, humans were doing something strange. They weren't building guns. They were gathering stories. Videos, photos, logs. From Novaterra. Children screaming for help. Families crying out to the Council. Ships denied landing permission. Hospitals shut down. All of it. Every lie. Every silence. Every face. Recorded. Saved, and now. Broadcast across the galaxy. The power of truth on. A quiet planet in Terrellian space. A family sat down for dinner. Suddenly, their screen flickered. A video began to play. It showed a little girl from Novaterra. She was coughing. Smoke behind her. Tears. On her face, she whispered, "They said help was coming. No one came." The family sat in silence. Then another video played. Then another. And another. On every world, every screen, every species, they saw the truth. Not with bullets, not with threats, but with memory. The Council panics. The ambassadors were furious. They're spreading lies. They're manipulating the people. But deep down, they knew. It wasn't lies. It was what really happened. They had ignored the fires, turned away from the screams. Now Earth was showing the galaxy the truth, and it hurt worse than any weapon ever built. Earth's message, final message was sent, not to the Council, but to everyone. It came from a survivor of Novaterra, an old man with one arm and tired eyes. He said, "You thought our weapons were guns, but our weapon was never made of metal. It was made of silence, memory, patience. You erased our voices. Now we flood the stars with them. You turned your backs on us. So we made sure you could never look away again." Then he smiled, not with anger, but with calm. "And we never fired a shot." The Galaxy React's protests shook the capital worlds. People demanded their leaders step down. Some species even arrested their own council members. Old enemies of Earth now sent real apologies, not through diplomats, but through their people. Ordinary. Citizens started movements. Justice for Novaterra. Silence is death. Never again. Even children were asking, why did we let Novaterra die? Why did no one help? Back on Earth, Commander Reyes watched the reports. She saw the Council falling apart, but Earth never sent an army. They didn't need to. Her officer whispered, "They know now." Reyes answered, "No. They remember now." Then she looked at the stars. So many of them. So many voices, all finally listening. The weapon Earth, never fired. It wasn't a laser. It wasn't a fleet. It was truth. It was memory. It was pain that never left and could not be ignored anymore. The Council had always feared force. They never imagined Earth would fight with something stronger. Conscience. And that weapon, it left no survivors on the guilty side. The Galactic Council was once untouchable. They ruled from giant towers. They spoke with pride. They decided what was right and what was wrong. For centuries, no one questioned them, until Earth walked away, and then the stars began to change. Riots. In the core worlds, in the capital system, flames rose higher than the towers. Citizens had stormed the council building. Statues of old leaders were pulled down. Paint covered the golden walls. Banners of Earth's message flew in the wind. You buried. Nova Terra. Now truth buries you. Soldiers refused to fire on the crowds. Some even joined them. The streets were no longer silent. They were filled with chants. Where were you? No more lies! End the council! Inside the council chamber. The chamber was nearly empty, bait. The 53 high seats, only 12 remained. Some had fled, others had resigned in shame. A few were missing. The high chair sat alone, trembling. His hands no longer held power, only regret. He looked at the messages flooding in. Worlds were declaring independence. Allies were turning into strangers. Old systems were shutting down. And above it, all Earth's broadcasts kept playing. Truth, pain, memory. On every screen. The final speech. The high chair recorded a message. Not to Earth, not to the people, but to history. His voice was weak, his eyes red. We were not destroyed by bombs. We were not beaten by ships. We were undone by silence. We chose comfort over justice. We looked away when Nova Terra burned. Now the galaxy looks away from us. Then he stood up, removed his robes, and walked out. The Council, once the center of the stars, was now just a memory. On Earth, Commander Alina Reyes stood in a quiet room. No celebration, no cheering, just peace. The kind that comes after a storm. A young officer spoke. It's done. Reyes nodded, but she didn't smile. We didn't want to break them. We just wanted them to see us. She looked at a screen. It showed the memorial on Nova Terra, still burning bright, still speaking without words. New voices. Rise across. The galaxy new leaders stepped forward. Not politicians, not generals, but survivors, truth-tellers, ordinary people. They spoke in simple words. We will not forget. We will not stay silent. We will not be like them. Peace talks began, not from power but from pain, and in everyone a seat was left empty. For Earth? No for Nova Terra, to remember what happens when power ignores the powerless. A visit to the Ashes One Council historian flew to what was once Nova Terra. He walked through the ruins, ash still covered the ground, old toys, broken signs, burned out. Buildings. He placed a recording stone on the ground. His voice cracked. I was there when we ignored you. I was there when we laughed at your cries. Now I am here to say, I see you, and I am sorry. Then he walked away. The wind carried his words across the broken streets, and for the first time, Nova Terra was heard. Earth's final message. Earth sent one last signal to the galaxy. No threats, no speeches, just a simple sentence. Let silence teach what shouting never could. The signal played once, then stopped. Earth went quiet again, not in anger, but in choice. What remains? The Council was gone. But the galaxy was not broken. It was waking up, learning, changing. Because sometimes a silence so powerful doesn't destroy, it rebuilds from the ashes, from the truth, from the pain.